Hello there. I'm not entirely sure what's about to come out, but I feel like this is my most creative part of the day. It's Saturday, the 21st of March, and it's 10:05 a.m. And I am walking on Unaka Road. I met a guy earlier this morning because it's spelled like phonetically. It's like Unaka, like the letter U-N-A-K-A, you know, and so I've always pronounced it as if it was a Japanese word, Unaka, you know, or I guess Unaka, if I'm getting real. But yeah, he told me that it's actually pronounced Unaki, because he was like, you know, if you saw an attractive person, you would say to them, I want to see Unaki. I think he said. So I guess that's where we're starting things. But yeah, I was thinking just now, I was like, you know, this is like probably the best time of day for me because everything is like pretty much topped off. You know, I'm not fatigued from the day. It's still the cooler morning time. You know, I've had a lot of water. I've had a lot of coffee. Yeah, I guess like all my levels are just full, you know, so I'm not sure where that will lead us. I've had a lot of interesting thoughts, but I was hiking and so it was hard. I don't even know how much of a climb it was. I just went over this pretty big feature on the Appalachian Trail called Beauty Spot, and it was certainly a climb to get there. Had to have at least been 1,000 feet, but regrettably, Strava, when you're actively recording something, it doesn't give you like real-time elevation gain. You have to wait till the end of the day, which as a consumer, I would say I would feature flag that. I would love to see how much elevation, but it feels like all of my suggestions for things, by and large, they're like it's a very niche request for a very specific use case, you know, and you can't have a product that services services every single niche market. It's actually kind of an interesting thing too, because that paradigm specifically, where you have to appeal to the masses and not the niche, that's about to flip, you know. If anyone has been paying attention to AI happenings, you might be familiar with something called Clawbot, or OpenClaw now, I suppose. Yeah, basically, I listened to an interview with the guy who invented this new agentic, what would you even call it? Agentic system, maybe? And even still after listening to it, I was pretty lost on the specifics because it's very, very technical, and it's a use of AI. I put my hat over my phone so there's no bad wind. I hope that helps. I hope you can still hear me. I've done this before, and it's worked pretty well, but I'm always nervous about it when I haven't done it in a while. But anyway, OpenClaw is this new system that will basically completely agentically, meaning, you know, with you don't have to handhold this recent creation with AI. Like, you know, I've personally gotten a little bit disenchanted and dismayed with my own AI use recently. Specifically, you may have noticed, I don't know, I haven't looked back, but I use AI to make my show notes, you know, and my episode titles, although I did make my own the other day because I thought that the fulcrum point between malice and benevolence, I thought that was way cooler than what AI came up with, which is a rarity. You know, I usually enjoy seeing how AI interprets my content and what they think is a fitting title. It's kind of just like watching your kid put a drawing up on the fridge. It's like, oh, you made that. But yeah, anyway, so OpenClaw is this like fully autonomous agentic system that goes far beyond what like the standalone platform AI chatbots can do, like Gemini. I mean, it's all powered on the back end by the frontier AI companies. Like, that's what it's tapping into, but it's like a new interface in order to actually use it in a way that basically, I think none of the frontier companies would ever feel comfortable letting people do, because there's just way too much liability. Like, you can give this thing money, you can have full-fledged conversations. The most interesting story, I think, about the coming online of the original OpenClaw/Clawbot that this guy made was that he was having a conversation with it on WhatsApp, a purely text-based conversation. And at a certain point, he was like, he wanted the AI just to call him. And because, writing back and forth, there's latency there. And I think it took... So his OpenClaw, which I think, what was the name of it? I forget the name, I might remember later. But he gave it a name, Henry, I think. And within less than 10 seconds, Henry, who had never been explicitly trained on how to make a phone call, was able to figure it out and call the creator so that they could have a conversation that was voice-based instead of through text. And so what it did, it realized that it would need to take its own responses and then find something that was a text-to-speech converter, and then also do all these other plugins and variety of different things. I don't know how many times it had to troubleshoot issues, but it basically was able to create the pipeline between text and conversation. And then for the first time, kind of like Frankenstein's monster, the creator of this thing heard his own creation literally speak back to him, And so this has been a huge, point of news that I've heard in the few AI sources that I consume. And it's really cool. As I was mentioning with Gemini, I use it to create my show notes, but recently it started to get really, really muddled. And I think there's something called a context window, which I have a vague understanding of. The way I picture the context window is if you're using a Ouija board, you're only supposed to take the letter that is within that viewfinder as the letter that the spirit is, speaking to you or providing to you. And so similarly with AI and its memory, it has a finite viewfinder like that, just in the same way that the viewfinder only goes over one letter at a time. AI can only view a certain portion of the conversation, and it's like a sliding scale. So as you add more and more content to a single conversation, its ability to reference past material is severely degraded and compromised. And so, yesterday, I was creating show notes for a couple of episodes, and I hit some tipping point because I did two. The first one, just a quick glance at the show notes, sounded accurate. I've never even proofread them to see if they're accurate because I've just trusted it. But for the last episode that I posted yesterday, it was it had nothing to do with the content of what I had actually provided in the transcript. And I was like, wow, this is so weird, because there's so many disparate elements of things that certainly did happen and were present in the entirety of the conversation, but it had somehow crafted this whole narrative that had nothing to do with again, what I had provided. And I don't mind that. I mean, I think it's just it's an unfortunate limitation of the technology to this point, and I accept that because that's just a growing pain. I oftentimes think about people who are adamant that AI will not arrive at something that we could consider conscious or sentient, and I'm just well, that's the same attitude. You obviously would have never been one of the Wright brothers, because it's people. It's that kind of attitude that makes people be stubborn and double down because they think that it can be done. And it's just well, I know for sure the people who say that it can't be done are not going to be the ones who do it. So they've self-selected to get themselves out of the way for people who actually believe in making something unique and new, to have that space all to themselves, which is cool because it kind of means that you have a default passion for that, and so passion will take you far when it comes to long-term I don't know, projects or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, so this morning, I guess I'll just talk about my day. For whatever reason, I got up at 6 a.m. and just felt completely awake. So I thought I would just stay up and start my day, and I did. It was nice. I enjoyed it. It was like a little bit of extra time on top of the extra time that I usually factor into my morning anyway, which also meant that I got on the trail earlier. But yeah, I got to talk about a little kind of spooky thing that happened overnight. I was definitely in the middle of a dream, which didn't help. But I woke up at like 1 a.m. or so. The wind had really picked up, which is another thing I'm confused about. Like, I understand why wind happens during the day, but it's a bit of a mystery how it can intensify overnight. My only thought was that as the sun goes away and stops charging the molecules in the air, they lose that buoyancy and fall to a lower heat state. And then kind of because of gravity, since air mass is a mass of things that is affected by the pull of gravity, it then basically just falls from the sky to a lower energy state, and eventually, kind of cascades in bunches over the woods. I mean, it was crazy listening to it last night, just because it was so violent sounding, but also far away from me. Except for, I guess, this one gush of wind. And I always like to remember using the word gush, that air and fluid dynamics are mathematically the same. It's just a difference in density, So I just always thought that was interesting. But in any case, yeah, so I woke up because I felt like I heard like two miniature, like sonic booms. Like it was like a, and it like messed with my eardrum for a second. It could have just been like air getting blown from the side of me and then kind of pushing into my ear, or my thought at the time, which is a lot less likely, is that it was like two wind gusts running into each other and basically annihilating each other. That doesn't seem very likely. Just on a statistical probability, like, what are the chances that two gusts would blow into each other and make a sonic boom? Doesn't sound right. So anyway, let me check my mail, or my map, Just want to make sure. Yeah, still got a little ways to go. Good deal. This is a good road. I'm enjoying this. It doesn't have much for views, but it has much more than the woods. And it's a little easier. It's still pretty steep, but it's, I don't have to watch my footing, which is nice. But yeah, so woke up, had this weird sensation in my ear, like someone had blown an air gun into it. And then, for whatever reason, I think there might have also been a sound in the forest, and animals skittering or scurrying or being scared by the same thing. And so I hear this weird sound. And, I'm camped at a place called Indian Grave, which, the gravity of a name like that isn't lost on me, but it's something that I generally just, who cares? Like, don't take that into consideration. It's arbitrary. But I start thinking about how, like, there might be this black draped figure in the woods, A scary witch is what I was thinking about. Probably because of those reports from South Korea that I've heard about, where people who experience sleep paralysis often see what is commonly described as like a witch who is coming closer and closer to you, and you're unable to escape. Sounds charming, right? So I'm thinking about this kind of stuff in the tent. And I'm like, man, I hate this. Like, I'm not really scared, but like, I'm on the edge of being scared now. Like, I woke up, I was already hot and bothered, pretty literally. It was actually pretty warm last night. And, now I've got this image of this, like, scary thing that I'm, like, 99% sure doesn't exist and isn't out here with me. And, I started picturing scary things, like something coming by and tapping on all sides of my tent at the same time. I'm getting goosebumps, which, the wind wouldn't be able to do. And then like seeing the depression of facial structures into my tent wall. Pretty creepy, huh? Oof, I hate those thoughts. But, I've had thoughts like that before. They happen, especially in those queer hours of the night when things are just, they're different, So I was like, well, I might as well pee. I can do something productive while being scared. And so I got out, and I don't think I used my headlamp, so I wasn't super interested in seeing the thing that I was worried about. But yeah, got out, took a little look around, more so than I might have done if it was just any other night. Didn't see anything, and I was like, well, kudos to you, my dude. Like, you got me. One of the things I often say respectfully is that there's really nothing out here. Like, and that's not me, I'm not trying to be glib, but like, whatever the density of life in these woods is, it is very, very low, and I don't know statistically how true that is, but experientially, primarily for two reasons at least. One, like, animals hear you and smell you far before you get there, so they're always ahead of the game. You never see them because of that. But then two, even if that wasn't the case, or I guess considering that may not be the case, these could both actually work in tandem. So it's really hard to say. But yeah, the other thing is just sheer density. Like, at a certain point, I gotta think, like, 100,000 years ago, maybe 10,000 years ago, I gotta think population of animals in the woods would have probably been higher. We've pretty much colonized all the habitable areas so that animals pretty much inevitably come in contact to us if they walk in a straight line for long enough. So, before all that, I got to think the distribution was slightly different. But anyway, that was one of my overnight thoughts. And then, yeah, got up at 6, posted another episode. You're welcome. Please do reach out to me at bookofmoron podcast@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments. I'll even field your concerns. But yeah, a lovely little evening in the tent. No one went by. Had the whole place to myself. Like I mentioned yesterday, I did 41 miles by doing that road walk, 41 trail miles. So I have absolutely no idea who is out here. And I did think it was kind of funny. I had the thought, I was like, if I keep this up and basically continue north, but I'm able to do it in such a way that, like, I can do a 50-mile trail day in 25 miles or something like that. I might be the first one to Katahdin. That'd be funny. But yeah, so did all my morning needfuls. Nice little breakfast, nice little coffee. My food bag feels better than it did yesterday. I also have a lot less water, so that helps. Speaking of which, did I miss the water source? I don't think there's very many for a while, which could be problematic. 6 miles. I probably have enough for 6 miles. How many miles have I did? Let's see, 4. Yeah, that's probably doable. I don't know. I hear water. I mean, it's not like it's ever that far away. I probably could snag some. There might be some on this road. Could do a little 1.5 liters and a slug or two of honey. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah. So, let's see. I just want to make sure that I'm observing where I need to go. Looks good. Yeah. Now I'm getting anxious about water. I'm like, because, like, technically speaking, there's a trail closure up here from Helene damage. I don't know how, like, up to date the closure is. But if I have to do the reroute, I didn't see any water on that. Anyway, we'll deal with all that later. I can still hear water. I could always bushwhack to water if need be. Not that I necessarily know where I would need to bushwhack to, but in any case, so I was on trail shortly before 9, and then ran into 2 people pretty quickly. This guy, Doug, Snake Man, aka Gandalf, and he was a shuttle driver, very nice guy. I found, I want to be delicate with my characterization, my description of this, but I found that people who do stuff on the Appalachian Trail for hikers, whether it's trail magic or shuttles or I'm looking at a water source that ain't nothing but dripping, y'all. All those kinds of people, they really like talking, and I can't blame them. Look at me, I like talking too. I don't demand or hold an audience. Like, you're free to go whenever you may like. You can pause this, go make a sandwich. You may not even hear the end of this sentence until hours later tonight. Asynchronous conversations, my dude. And yeah, it was fun listening to him. To put it the most gracefully, he was basically the Bubba from Forrest Gump of snakes. Like, he knew a lot about snakes. He had a lot of snakes that were pets. He knew how to do snake gumbo, fried snake, grips and snake, so on and so forth. And I was like, cool, well, I'm getting cold. I really need to go. And so I did. And I went for a while. I guess I've been about 5 miles now. I'll take a break in a couple of hours and enjoy myself, some food, make sure I'm on track for the day. Generally speaking, I plan to go either 20 or 24 miles. It depends. So we'll see. If I do 24, I have a slightly easier day and early day into Station 19E, which I kind of like the idea of, as I'm evaluating it now. I'm like, yeah, if I get to Station 19E earlier, then I can hang out with people longer, enjoy the beer and conversation. Wow. It's like, sometimes when I need to pee in public, all of a sudden there's a porta potty, and they say the trail provides, and now I'm next to a bunch of fairly easily accessible water. Perhaps you can hear it. I'll take a picture maybe for the episode thing. We'll see how that turns out. It sounds like there might be some easier grabbable water over here. Sounds like it's dripping pretty strong, but maybe not strong enough. Guess we'll see. Oh, that's decent. I could definitely work with that. Wow, this is even cooler, actually, picture-wise. Yeah. So, yeah. Is that everything that I basically had on my list? Oh. Yeah, there was one more thing. Just a thought experiment. And I don't actually think it's a valid one. But I was thinking today, I was like, how long does it take for a single blood cell to go out from one side of the heart and then come all the way back to the other side? I think I've asked AI a question like that before. And the answer wasn't very satisfactory because there's a lot of variables. I don't actually think that, a blood cell that leaves the heart actually travels through the entirety of the system before returning. I'd imagine it's kind of not really random, but something like that, where it goes to a specific place and everyone goes to a specific place and eventually they get back to the heart. But I doubt it's like a very linear path, So that was my other thought. And now I'll leave it there because it's time to get some water, and that'll be a little bit difficult to do. I also had the thought that maybe herpes is named after the way that the virus looks under the microscope, since that is like the Greek word for snake or something like that. But yeah, anyway, I'll leave it there for now, and love you, bye.